Hello everybody and welcome back to the Retro Recall. I hope you're doing awesome. Today we have something very special on the bench. I would say this is my holy grail when it comes to vintage computers. Everyone has theirs, and this is for my particular one. This system I have been looking for well over 15 years. This particular system has popped up on eBay once every year or two, if I'm lucky. And I had an opportunity to get one time that was in any remotely decent shape that would be even considered something I would be investing any sort of money into. And I fell asleep. I missed out on the opportunity to get it, and I have not had another opportunity since. That was well over 10 years ago. And this particular unit came up on eBay, I would say, within the last 6 months. And I saw it, and it was just priced in a point where I wanted it, but I just couldn't bring myself to spend what was being asked. So I took a chance. I emailed the seller and I said, "This is my story. This is a particular system I've been looking for such a long time. It is a system that my brothers had when I grew up, and I had tinkered around with slightly back. I mean, we're talking, mid to late 90s. So at this point, the laptop would have been, 7, 8 years old. And I unfortunately stopped working, didn't work, bad screen, things like that, and just ended up gone. And so I told the story, and the seller accepted my offer based on what I felt was fair. And here we are. And we even have a letter in here from him because he was really excited for the system to go to a good home. Let's go ahead and change the camera angle up and start to dig into the box and find out what exactly is inside. And here we go. We have our box all ready to be opened up. So let's go ahead and open up one side at a time and see what's inside this beautiful vintage box that we have. And yeah, I mean, the system itself is so... even the packaging inside, it's just great to have all this together. So we have our box, which I'm just going to go ahead and just take out first, our inside box, just to see what exactly is inside in here. So we have, which looks like some punch cards from this is something the seller had included with the system. I don't exactly know what these are, but if you do, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you as to what they are. So this is the seller's note, and it states, I could have it here, but it states, "Thank you. It makes me happy to know this piece of history is going to a good home. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks, Dan." Thanks, Dan. If you're watching, thank you so much for allowing this to get into my hands. So the big reveal, we have a Zenith Data Systems MinisPORT HD laptop with all the original items, everything part of the original purchase would have been from 1989. He states that he had this system originally in his home from brand new. So the fact that he's had that and taken care of it in this pristine condition, and then I get that, is just absolutely amazing. Let's go ahead and just open this up and see what's inside. So it just talks about the MinisPORT. So the MinisPORT itself was a sub-notebook. It was based on the 80C88 CMOS CPU, running at 2 software selectable speeds. So you can go 4.77 megahertz or 8 megahertz, depending on what you wanted to do with the laptop. And I mean, like I said, it was released back in 1989, and it shows them, it shows the size of this thing. I mean, back in 1989, and it also has an external 3.5-inch drive. Now, this drive was optional, was not included with this particular unit. But again, it was just something that was optional for the system. And then, I mean, it shows detectives here with a laptop out, and they were obviously doing some work on there. And it shows, it fits right into your briefcase. We're talking about the early or late 80s, early 90s with this laptop. This particular model is the ZL-2, which means that it came with the 2 megabyte hard drive instead of the 1 megabyte hard drive, which is obviously a big upgrade for this particular model. And so the technical specifications for this particular model was the 80C88 microprocessor, which we talked about, which is the 4 megahertz switchable speed. It has the 1 megabyte of RAM, 640K of which is for MS-DOS applications, and 360K is for EMS RAM or storage. And then it goes on talking about how it contains DOS. Now, this particular model has DOS 3.3 installed. It has an optional 1 megabyte memory expansion for additional storage. So this has the 2 megabyte model. These did come with another option of a 20 megabyte, 2.5-inch hard disk drive, talking about all the different features that it came with. And then software. Now, I mean, I don't have access to that. I don't have that today. So with the software, it has the operating system, MS-DOS version 3.3 is installed on the hard drive, and partial version is also installed in ROM. But because this hard drive requires, I mean, we're going to go ahead and just see what's on the hard drive, but the way it is, the ROM was backed up by batteries, and it heavily relied on that. So we'll see what that is. It comes with data transfer software installed, so Rupp Corporation's Fast Links. So this would have been an early version of LapLink in the cable to the software to be able to communicate between computers, to network them together. Well, lack of a better term, network. And it talks about the physical size. The video resolution is 640 by 200, and it's a crystal bright backlit transmissive LCD 9.5-inch diagonal screen, which is CGA compatible. So it does have the external port, which we'll see later. And it talks about the power, the battery, the I/O ports, which we're going to go through, and the security, talks about that, and the different options that you could purchase for this particular system. So they talk about the modem. So you have an internal 1200 or 300 baud internal modem made by Hayes. Then you can talk about the different features. So you have the external hard drive, replacement hard drive to fix that external drive if something were to break with it. And it shows different formats, 720K and what have you. And then it talks about all the different disks that you can buy for it, which this particular system came with a unique floppy disk system, which I'm going to show you, which is extremely rare and is no longer made. Different leatherette, slip covers, cases, pockets, replacement, batteries, etc. So awesome. So there are the batteries for the unit. I'm going to keep those out of the system. No need to put them in. And then this goes with Zenith Data Systems Group Bowl. It just looks like a badge that came with it. Now this was in the system, so there we go. Now these are the batteries for this for the battery CMOS backup. I mean, the model of this battery, I've never seen one of these before. It is a 3-volt battery, but it's a CR2430. Now, I do have replacements. I was able to go online and find them, so I do have replacement ones. But just because I'm pretty confident that these would be dead by now, but I don't know if they were ever in the system, or maybe he was able to take them out of the system as well. So anyway, we have that. We have our important owner registration card from Zenith Data Systems. So being very delicate with the paperwork here. So it talks about registering your unit and going on all the different, what's the use of the unit, what software products did you purchase, things like that. So that's all in here. Pretty standard, registration card. So that's good. And then we have another document here. So service information. So it talks about, in the event that service is required on your Zenith Data Systems portable computer, please contact the ZDS or ZDS dealer where you purchased your unit in any of the Heath Zenith electronic centers found in either the white pages or the yellow pages of the telephone directory. So it goes on about, don't do anything yet, contact service information, then talks about their customer service department and their phone number, and then talks about if you're shipping them, make sure that they're all packaged correctly, and then talks about the 1-year limited warranty that would have come with the system. And then the same thing with the software end user agreement that's here as well, including the warranty for the software. So that's all part of that. Again, it's just so cool having all of this stuff as part of this system. So we have WordPerfect for IBM PCs. And so this would have been software that I believe did he purchase or may have come with it. So, so it talks about below is a table which will help you navigate through your WordPerfect documents. So what you want to do, and then your key combinations on the laptop to be able to activate where you want to go within your word processor. That's pretty cool if that's in there. Talks about the key features of what to do with the WordPerfect, and then all the different key commands and how to start WordPerfect using 2 disk drives or the hard disk, and saving documents, clearing the screen, and exiting WordPerfect. So that's pretty cool. Copyright 1988. That's pretty neat. All right. So we also have, what's this? Power cord instructions. So it just talks about the different, based on where you are located in the world, the different interfaces that you have to be able to plug in your laptop. Here it shows the Zenith service centers. So it talks about all the different service centers around the world and where to reach out to and their phone numbers, which is amazing. We have the MinisPORT Portable Computer Owner's Manual. So this is all the owner's manual. And according to this particular system, ZL-2, was purchased in April 19th of 1991. That's what he has written in here. So that's pretty neat. But again, the system came out in 1988, so it would have been out for a couple of years at this point for that. So it just talks about the getting started, using your computer, and going through all the different settings of the actual system to get it going. Then we have the 1200 baud modem. So that must be in the system. I actually don't remember seeing it when I was looking through it because I was so overwhelmed with having this. So it's really, really, really neat. But this does come with the 1200 baud modem by the looks of things. And so it goes on just talking about, the actual how to operate the modem and how to, we're not going to be doing that obviously, but being able to connect to the line and be able to manually command the modem using command codes within DOS and what have you. So that's really neat. Just so overwhelmed with the having this in my possession because, like I said, been looking for this for many, many, many years and finally have it in complete in box, which is amazing. And if my brothers are watching this, I know that they owned it first before me. And, I don't ever remember seeing a full, complete box in the house, but definitely something that was really cool to play with at the time. So we have Microsoft MS-DOS version 3.3 Plus is what's installed on the system. So it talks about, field reference book. So if you're in the field, this is like a condensed version of DOS and all the different commands that you can use using the system and all, being able to use all the different parts of DOS that are 3.3 that are part of the system. All right. And then we have the actual full version of MS-DOS version 3.3 Plus. So this is a much thicker manual and just in absolute pristine condition, just everything that's in here. Again, manufactured in 89, but then having this, purchased in 91 and just the experience of being able to open this up back then. And, this is, just an absolute experience. So it's really, really nice. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the actual system. Okay, on to the system itself. So we have a power cord, which will be used for plugging in the battery packs. Let's go ahead and plug that in just so we have that kind of at the ready. And then we have the power adapter itself. Again, just in absolute pristine condition. Everything about this now, I've already had this fired up. I wasn't worried about any of the any issues within the actual power adapter. So again, being as old as it is, it just fired right up. And the cord is just in absolute perfect condition as well. So let's go ahead and just plug that in so we have that ready to go when it comes time. And all set there. And then the actual computer itself. Let's get this out of the box and put this right here, and we'll discard the box just so it's out of our way, and then we'll be able to get right into the system. All right, so here we are. We have the Zenith MinisPORT ZL-2. So I don't know if it's called MinisPORT or MiniSport. Probably MinisPORT, I think is the way it's pronounced, but again, interesting. All right, so here we are. We have the Zenith Data Systems MinisPORT ZL-2 laptop from 1989, purchased in 1991 based on the book that he has there. So again, just really, really neat to have this system. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the camera so that we have a better look at the actual system itself and bring everybody to this experience, which is awesome. All right, let's just go over the actual laptop itself here. So we have on the front, we have our looks like we have on, I say on the front, but on the latches on the side here to be able to open up the monitor, which we're not just going to open up just yet, but the latch is just absolutely crisp. Now, given the age of the system, I'm going to be very gentle with it, of course. We don't want to cause any plastic, being brittle and breaking or what have you. So this particular computer does have the modem built in. So this, we saw this, the manual for it in the box, and it does have, looks like it's an expansion port here that comes with 2 screws on the bottom so you can slide the card in. So it does have a built-in modem, which is awesome. Now I just remembered I do have to use a battery in order to pass power through to the system. So I'll have to get one of the battery packs out, throw it in here to be able to plug in that laptop, or the power cord to the laptop. So on the back, we have our door. Now, we didn't have that on the home computer that we had. I'm sure it was at one point, but it wasn't when I got my possession on it. It wasn't. But that's it's great to have that cover as part of the system. So we have an external CRT. So this would be for CGA, external monitor for CGA. Now, I don't have any CGA monitors. However, there is a project out there that you can use. I'll link it in the description. You can use to convert CGA to HDMI or to VGA or what have you. So, again, just thank you for the retro community. I've asked questions about this, knowing I had this system before sharing it, and definitely wanted to get that hooked up because it'd be really cool to see this on a bigger monitor and all that good stuff. Then we have our printer port. Then we have our RS-232 serial port, which is here. And then we have a port which looks proprietary to Zenith, for an external floppy disk drive. So there's something very unique about the MinisPORT and what their format was in terms of storage. If you noticed, there's no floppy disk drives on this until you turn it around on this side and you see this. That's right. That is a floppy drive. That is their proprietary drive that they tried to bring into the market. It's a 2-inch floppy drive capable of holding 720K of data. This is just something that's I just find so neat, but it was very short-lived in the market. So, I mean, back then they were quite cheap. Now they're not so much. And I was fortunate enough, as I mentioned earlier, to get 2 of them. And there they are. They are 2-inch floppy disk. Now, to compare that to a regular floppy disk, here's one right here. That is just absolutely crazy to look at and think about that they were trying to push this on the market. These existed, but they were trying to push them on the market and they just never took off. And as a result, it was a short production line. And so they became extremely rare. Now, this particular floppy disk, according to the label, says it comes with DOS 3.3 plus, with fast wire. So that's the software that allows you to connect multiple computers together using that serial port. And then refresh LL something. I don't know what's on there, but really hoping that these disks work. If not, that's fine. This is part of history, part of this actual system. But again, they're just so tiny and just so neat to hold in my hands, knowing how rare they are. And I know if you go into the floppy museum, any computer museum, and they have these. This is just a really cool format to see. All right, enough time on that. Now, that all said, I was talking about how this particular model comes with that 2-inch floppy drive. Now, if you look on the back, and they talked about this in the manual that we flipped through as option, or not the manual, the information card, we do have a port here for an external floppy disk drive, which again was very rare and hard to get because a lot of people didn't do that. A lot of people, use the 2-inch floppies and they use them, that was when you had this laptop, that's what they used. But I, again, was fortunate enough to find a seller, and I have never seen one online. And I was able to find the exact one that would have been sold back then to be able to hook up to the system and operate on 3.5-inch floppy disks, which is just absolutely crazy. Now, this is a 720K formatted drive. I believe I have 720K disks here. I'm just double checking yeah, I do. I have some 720K floppies. So if I want to try that out, I can. But it's just, again, just an absolute pristine condition that I was able to find this online. Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy to have this. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that aside for a moment because I want to replace the batteries in this laptop, just because this is one of those laptops that if you don't have the battery ROM backup, it won't. You have to reset the settings every single time, and I'm not interested in doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and just change them now. All right, lots of chatting here, but just really excited to get into this. So let's go ahead and just open this up. Now this is the battery bay. I love how they make it so darn accessible for us because of where it's located there. Let's see if I can use my thumb to open that up. Yeah, okay, I can. That's great. Okay, so it shows the positive side is pointing, I believe it's pointing, I don't know if it's pointing up or down here. I think it's down. So let's go ahead and get those there. And these are the batteries. All right, we'll get that installed right now. All right, so we have those two in. I'm just going to be very careful not to lose these screws because chances are finding them are pretty slim, I would think. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and just get these installed here. All right, so we have the battery, the backup batteries installed. And what I want to do now is go ahead and grab that one of those batteries. Just, I think we need them, as I mentioned earlier, we need them to be able to pass the power through the connector to the laptop itself. So here we go. So this one's came with the computer. And there's another one there that's a little bit newer, probably as a replacement. I'll use the one that came with the computer. That's fine. I think that's what I did originally anyway. Okay, so we have our side port here, the door. We're just going to go ahead and open up. And we'll slide it in here so that we know it's on that side. Like so. Oh, I say that. There we go. Slide that in nicely like that. And we'll pop on the door. Again, being conscious of all the plastic. Could be very brittle. And then we'll go ahead and plug the machine in to the side. Just making sure it's all lined up because I don't want to cause any issues to this laptop whatsoever. And there we are. So let's go ahead and get the camera readjusted so we can get all situated. Okay, we're back with the system. Let's go ahead and just take the two latches, open it up, and see what it looks like inside. So there we are. We have our Zenith Data Systems ZL-2 MinisPORT laptop. And just look at the condition of this machine. Absolutely pristine. It's just absolutely crazy to see this. Now, I've also went ahead and added this in between adjusting the camera, just so we already have the floppy drive connected. Now, I've never owned one of these or experienced this before. So again, that's all new to me. So we got that installed. And again, we've installed the batteries here. So let's go ahead and just turn it on and just see what happens. Okay, so it says on the screen, power loss to real-time clock detected, check time and date, bad configuration information found in CMOS. Errors found, please press escape to continue. Okay. It's accessing the drive. It says RAM disk failure. Errors found. Please escape to continue. There we are. So the machine setup configuration program. So let's go ahead and just back it up a little bit to see if I can get everyone to zoom in just a little bit on this. All right. So we have system memory size. So time. I mean, we can just, so it's right now, so it's January 1st, 1989. Let's just go ahead and adjust that. It's now let's just, because I want to test those batteries, see if it holds the charge. So let's go ahead, and the date today is April, so 04. I'm assuming it's day, or month, day, year. Let's see. And it's 04 again, and 2020. Now, will this BIOS hold this? 2023. Let's go tab. Memory size is 2 megabyte, already detected. It says RAM disk is 1392K. EMS RAM is off. That's fine for now. Backup RAM disk is enabled. Serial port COM1 is disabled. Modem port COM2 is disabled. Printer port is disabled. So operating system speed slow, fast, or smart. I just keep it on fast. Video display, LCD or CRT, we'll keep it to LCD. I don't want to risk, I don't have an external CRT because I don't want to have to worry about that. Backlight timeout is always on, set to 1 minute just to time out so it doesn't, ruin the backlight. But just look at the quality of this screen. It's just absolutely beautiful given the age. Video display fonts, so US English is fine. Floppy drive A is internal. I can actually tell it to go external instead, so it won't even touch this drive. I just selected that just so we can try out the drive, and then I'll switch it back to internal as well because I also want to try out those other floppy disks as well. Boot drive, so it's enter MFM monitor, floppy disk drive, internal RAM disk, internal ROM disk, which is what we're selecting, or floppy then ROM disk. So we're just going to keep it the way it is. And then it says move arrows to escape when done. Are you done making changes? Yes. Press return to save changes or escape to ignore. So enter. We have a flashing cursor. Current date is 4/4/23. Enter due date. New date. Nope. So current time is 3:46. That's fine. But the time. Here we are. MS-DOS 3.3 plus. Copyright Microsoft 1981 to 1990. Oh my goodness. 81 to 87. And copyright Zenith Data Systems 87-88. 1988. That's absolutely amazing. Let's go A drive to see if it detects this drive. And DIR. Yeah, it's accessing the drive. There's no floppy in it. I have it in there, but it's not in. I just want to see if it comes back and says disk read error. Yeah, not ready, error reading drive A. So abort, retry, and fail. So let's pop the disk in. Again, these are 720K floppies, so let's just see if it can retry. Volume A has no label. Directory of A, file not found. Let's go DIR. Same idea. Let's go MKDIR. Let's go retro recall. Let's just go retro because I don't want the character limit. There we go, DIR now on the A drive. There we are. We have one directory, one file, and we have 729K free on that disk. That's just absolutely amazing. So the C drive, the way it works on this particular unit is this is considered the read-only memory. This is stored, this has DOS 3.3 and the link program installed on it. So if I hit DIR, you see that it has all the DOS commands that are part of this read-only memory section of the silicon disk is what Zenith calls it. Now, there's the 1 meg model only obviously limits you so much, and then the 2 meg model as well. And the 2 meg model has system reserved memory for this, and then the rest of the memory is used for your storage. Now, the odd thing about this that I read up on and didn't know about was in order to keep that random access memory, the RAM part of the 2 megabytes, to keep that data stored. So if I were to copy files over to, say, the D drive in this particular case, which is considered the writable section, I have to keep those 2 batteries that you saw me install at the beginning. So the batteries don't just serve the purpose of storing to the clock, they also serve the purpose of keeping the data on the drive. Those batteries are good for 3 days if it's not plugged in to power. After 3 days, it wipes your memory on those. So, I mean, this is a portable machine. You can store stuff onto floppy disks and things like that to store it. I mean, this is 720K. This gives me approximately 1.4 meg of free memory with the 2 megabyte model. But again, it is something that you just had to be conscious of, that after 3 days, you'd have to power it up, swap your batteries around just to make sure your data that you had stored there, even if you were working on a document, was copied over to floppy. Otherwise, you were losing your data. So you wouldn't install software there. You'd run software off the floppies and things like that, but you'd store temporary files or copy files back and forth to that area. So in this particular case, so we have our C drive. Let's go to A drive. It's probably trying to access this drive over here. So the way this works is This is considered A drive, the built-on, and this is considered B drive, which is the external floppy drive that we have. So I'll go ahead and put disks in both just so we can access them. So we go dir, and it's accessing the drive right now. So this particular disk is one of the 2-inch floppies that we put in the drive, and that is showing command.com, DOS, and drvd as directories. Let's go to cd DOS, and then we'll do a dir/w just to see, and it's the same idea. So you see it's slowly reading that 2-inch floppy drive that's on the side here, and so you see all the files that are here. These are the exact files that are currently sitting over on the ROM drive. And so we already have that on there. So that's works great. Let's go to D drive now. D drive is this random access memory, the RAM portion of that 2 megabytes. So the reserved memory, which we had earlier, and then like dir on that. And so I was already in here earlier, and I created a couple of directories, just a DOS directory and a retro directory. And at first, it wasn't reading the drive, so I had to format the drive for it to become readable. And keeping in mind that if the batteries go bad, you have to go back and reformat this so that's readable again. That's just the way this functions. And there we go. We have a functioning Zenith Data Systems MinisPORT laptop in front of us from 1989 when they were built. This was purchased in 1991. And it just works amazingly. The fact that I have the floppy disk drive, the external one for the 720K floppies, and then we also have our 2-inch floppy from Fujifilm. And the fact that we can't get these anymore, just again, I'm astonished that I was able to find these ones, and I waited quite a while to get them in so that I could do this video and show everybody and experience this with everybody. So I will be doing future videos on this. I will be sharing more with everybody as we go through and as I'm able to go in and I'm able to get some more additional software for this. Like, for example, the WordPerfect program that is being shown. Obviously, I don't have the disk for that, but we have the manuals for it. And so I'd like to get that going. So maybe we can do that, and also maybe install a printer and maybe print off what we do in the word processor, and possibly do some file sharing between 2 machines using that link software that came specifically for this particular model. So again, thank you everybody for joining me and sharing in this wonderful experience and me being able to share what I felt was my holy grail to everybody. I hope you really like this video of this rare vintage Zenith MinisPORT with the amazing 2-inch floppy format that's no longer around. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. I really appreciate bringing all this to you guys. I love doing this. Please hit the notification button so when this does happen, you're able to be notified of new content. And of course, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.